What's going on, guys? My name is Jacob, back to a brand new video. Today I'm here for the 2012 European Grand Prix at Valencia, and now looking at the Q1 results, you can see Daniel Ricciardo was fastest ahead of Bruno Senna, but the main people are Heikki Kovalainen and Vitaly Petrov in 3rd and 5th for Caterham, and then you can also see Charles Pic in 10th for Marussia, Lewis Hamilton, Mark Webber, Fernando Alonso and Sebastian Vettel, Romain Grosjean. All the way down as well. Then in Q, then you can see who was knocked out in Q1: Michael Schumacher, Kimi Räikkönen, Nico Rosberg, and Felipe Massa. The big name knockouts of Q1. None of them were really expecting it, but that's Valencia. Anything can happen, really. Now, as we are moving on to the race, you can see that the race strategy that Raikkonen is going with this weekend is starting which is pitting on lap 12 to go onto the primes with the normal fuel strategy today. He feels he doesn't need to go on the cautious strategy or the aggressive strategy. He does go onto the primes to start to see what the team recommend the lap to put on. But then he did remember back what happened in Spain, and he decided to start on the options and wanted to make up the most ground he could in the first stint. And now, as we are looking at the setup Raikkonen is running for this weekend, a low downforce setup as per usual for most of the tracks apart from Monaco. And now looking at the grid of the European Grand Prix, you see Mark Webber qualified on pole ahead of Raikkonen's teammate Romain Grosjean, who qualified in 2nd. Pastor Maldonado once again did a fantastic job for Williams, starting in 3rd with ahead of the reigning champion Sebastian Vettel. Jenson Button qualified in 5th ahead of Paul di Resta and Lewis Hamilton. The McLarens, who have been quite dominant this season, obviously not having the best qualifying. Then you can see Sergio Perez in 8th with Nico Rosberg and Daniel Ricciardo in 10th. Fernando Alonso was knocked out in Q2 qualifying 11th, with Heikki Kovalainen, Charles Pic and Vitaly Petrov qualifying in 14th, 15th and 16th, doing a very good job getting into Q2. Then you see Michael Schumacher in 18th there, Kimi Räikkönen and Nico Rosberg in 20th. Then it's Fumio Kobayashi and Felipe Massa, all big name knockouts in Q1. So they were obviously the early casualties of Q1, which was quite surprising for the European Grand Prix. You wouldn't expect them to be knocked out in the first race, but going onto the grid, it should be a good race, obviously, with lots of drivers being able to trying to make their way through the field, most notably Michael Schumacher, Nico Rosberg, Kimi Räikkönen, Felipe Massa. It should be very interesting, and I also believe that Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button will also want to make their way further up the grid in this Grand Prix, as they are quite out of position as well. There you see Mark Webber on pole with Romain Grosjean in 2nd, and then Kimi Räikkönen all the way back down in 19th. So now you can see he has Michael Schumacher and Pedro Dolores and Petrov ahead of him, and it's lights out and away we go. And you can see that Raikkonen gets a fairly decent start, and then Dolores actually gets in the way, so there's contact, and Raikkonen decides to go to the outside, and then he switches to the inside and brakes and locks up both front tyres, and then going around the first corner, you can see now, I think up around here there is going to be contact, and there isn't, but it does got the inside of both Caterhams, and then there is slight contact, and then more contact with Bruno Senna as they're coming around here, and then he gets out of the way and then passes Fernando Alonso to move into 10th place, and next up is Nico Rosberg in 9th place. And Kimi goes for movement inside first gear, slightly missing Sergio Perez, and Raikkonen goes deep and then allows Alonso to get past, and then Raikkonen makes slight contact and ends up getting past Fernando Alonso using the curve. And no, actually Alonso is still there, but he used the rest of his curves, Raikkonen, and then cut across in front of Alonso to get 9th place. And next up on his hit list is Sergio Perez, and first gear he slightly cuts corner and runs a little bit, and it takes a good line. And now on lap 2 you can see that Perez is actually fighting with someone, and I think that is and it's Paul di Resta, and as Raikkonen goes deep into this corner, but he is very much closer to Sergio Perez and Paul di Resta. And coming down the straight, Raikkonen uses his curves, and he is hoping to catch Sergio Perez, sorry. And now Perez, it looks like he's going to make a move on di Resta. That didn't happen, and Kimi is now right on the back of Perez, and he's gone purple in the second sector. But of course, all cars are doing that as it is only the second lap, and it looks like Kimi might make a move at the final corner, possibly, and he doesn't. But he does look up his his right front, surprisingly, and then runs off the track, and that allows Nico Hülkenberg to demote Kimi Räikkönen down to 10th place, and then he goes up to victory because on lap 3 DRS is now enabled, and Räikkönen looks to be, and Smart Weber is leading the race, and Kimi Räikkönen will look to be getting ahead as later on lap 3 you can see he's already caught up to back up to Nico Hülkenberg, and on the straight he should have DRS, and as he uses the curves, and now he's DRS. He's got the DRS wide open, and just look at the speed difference he has got on Nico Hülkenberg. It's much bigger speed difference, and coming into the braking zone, he gets the pass done on Nico Hülkenberg and moves up into 9th place. Sergio Perez has been able to get past Paul Di Resta for 7th place, and that Di Resta is next up on Räikkönen's hit list. And now later on again on lap 3, Räikkönen now goes purple and is very close to Di Resta, and he's looking to get past him here, and this is somewhere where Räikkönen has been very strong all weekend, and as long as he keeps it on the road and doesn't go onto the grass, which he doesn't this time, he should have a very good run on Di Resta, and he pulls out to the outside coming into the final corner, and he gets the pass done. And now going to look at a replay, you can see Räikkönen is already around it, and he gets a fantastic move through there, and then Di Resta was thinking about having a look at Räikkönen around the outside, but that didn't work. Now on lap 6 you can see there is a train that starts at 5th place with Pastor Maldonado, then it's Lewis Hamilton and Sergio Perez, and Räikkönen wants to get into the mix as well. Maldonado's been holding up Hamilton and Perez, and is now starting to hold up Räikkönen as well, but we'll have to see if but it looks like they're going to be challenging pretty soon, and there is a big gap between 4th and 5th as Pastor Maldonado has not got the pace to stay up there as Button sets fast up, and Romain Grosjean now is actually in the lead of the Grand Prix, and coming now into the first corner, first gear, it now looks like he is very close to Sergio Perez and the other end, Maldonado and Hamilton. And coming on around here on lap 7, you can see that they are very close. Räikkönen gets caught on the curb and then spat off to the left a bit, but no damage is collected, as now we are coming around this tight corner. Räikkönen goes at the inside of Sergio Perez and moves up into 7th place. Next up is Lewis Hamilton and Pastor Maldonado, but Perez looks like he might come back, but he can't, and Räikkönen now opens the DRS and uses some of his curves on the run up, and it looks like on the right to this corner, it looks like Lewis Hamilton is going to challenge Pastor Maldonado, and he does. He pulls out to the left and gets past Dunn, and Räikkönen also goes around the outside of Pastor Maldonado, which turns to the inside for this corner, and that's the pass done on Pastor Maldonado. But now Räikkönen want to work on getting past Lewis Hamilton for 5th place, and coming up to this straight there is no DRS, but Räikkönen uses the pace of his pure Lotus and the curves that he had left to move up into 5th place. And next up is Sebastian Vettel, who is 6.1 seconds ahead, as now we are coming on to lap 10. It's now Mark Webber in 4th, and Räikkönen now runs wide, and Lewis Hamilton gets it, but Räikkönen loses back in, and that spins with Hamilton. He gets a penalty, and he has a lack of concentration there, as there's also yellow flags, and runs onto the curb, and then gets back out, and then comes off the second curb and spins, and then he hits the wall, and that makes him lose his right rear tyre and wheel, and that puts him out of the Grand Prix. Having a look at the replay, you can see left rear wheel, and now as we are looking at the replay, you can see he gets, now looking at the proper replay, you can see he gets too much on that curb, then that spits him out onto the left curb, and then he comes off that curb too viciously, and that ends up with Räikkönen hitting the wall, unfortunately for him. And now looking at the results, you can see Kimi Räikkönen. Now looking at the results, you can see Jensen Button won the race ahead of Romain Grosjean, Räikkönen's teammate, who finished in 2nd, and then Mark Webber finished in 3rd after starting on pole, ahead of his teammate Sebastian Vettel, with Sergio Perez finishing in 5th, ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Michael Schumacher and Nico Rosberg did fantastic job coming up from 18th and 20th to finish in 7th and 8th, with Pastor Maldonado after qualifying 3rd ended up finishing in 9th, with Felipe Massa coming up in 22nd to round out the points. Surprisingly, Fernando Alonso finished down in 17th and wasn't able to add more points to his championship tally. Jenson Button did end up finishing the race, so he did end up giving himself a better result. And Kimi Räikkönen, unfortunately, as you saw, retired from the race, and he was the only retirement of the European Grand Prix. Now looking at the driver's standings, you see Lewis Hamilton leads the way, still ahead of his 1 point ahead of his teammate Jenson Button, with Mark Webber in 3rd. Kimi Räikkönen has dropped down to 4th, and he'll be looking to get up to try and mount a challenge to Mark Webber and Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton in the future, with Fernando Alonso only being 6 points behind Kimi Räikkönen and Vettel a further 6 points behind Fernando Alonso, with Romain Grosjean in 7th, 8th to Sergio Perez, and then Michael Schumacher and Iceman rounding out the top 10. Looking at the constructors' standings, McLaren is still in the way with a very healthy buffer to Red Bull, who have quite a healthy buffer to Lotus, and then Lotus seem to have quite a big lead over Ferrari as well, with Sauber in 5th and Mercedes in 6th, with Williams in 7th, and then the last 2 point scorers Toros and Force India. Teams yet Scott are Marisha, Caterham and HRT. But that's been it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please give it a big like, comment down below your thoughts, subscribe if you are new for weekly F1 content. You can follow me on Twitter at F1Petrode_. As always, there's a link to that down in the description. All the music used in this video is also down in the description, and if you want to come up with Partner of Freedom, then there's also a link to that down in the description. That's been it from me, and I will see you next time.